Venkatashyam, namaskar.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
So beautiful day.
Fantastic day.
Yes, I want you to share the current trend in the business.
Uh, Business as a opportunity, if you look at it, there are multiple options, multiple things that are happening. But one of the key things, or the in thing, or the buzzword that we are all talking about is AI. Uh, Very specifically using ChatGPT, which can scan through everything around the web and give you results, which can help you do what you want to do in a very shorter period of time. So thereby changing the turnaround time of whatever you are trying to do. So, of course, this does not give a lot of scope for originality that as people can contribute. However, it does help someone to grow as a person if they are looking for specific subjects to do things. Uh, Coming from that perspective, there's one buzz that is going around in the world saying that this new trend of using ChatGPT will take away jobs. I strongly feel it will not, but it will create new set of jobs and new entrepreneurs who will come in and then would be able to extract and utilize, leverage the technology that is available and then make good out of it.
Okay. What about your field, the automobile field?
Auto industry is in getting into a place where it is going to have a paradigm shift. One of the key things that I see as an industry that is happening is the swift shift towards electric vehicles. Of course, there are lots of things which are happening in that space. One is the considerable amount of carbon emissions that are coming out from the engines have been dramatically dropping in the last decade. That's one part of it. The second part of it is the sudden adoption of hybrids, not just globally but also in India. A lot of hybrids have come into India, and people have started recognizing hybrids as a type of vehicle which can be used and economical, and it blends both the ICE and the EV technologies together and brings forward that. So
That means EV is compulsory and one more another
no,
additional.
EV is there. So till a specific speed and specific torque, EV would be working.
Okay.
And what happens afterwards is when you want a sudden rush of power or the battery is draining down, the engine kicks in and then it takes over. So these smart hybrids are very very economical. In a typical scenario, if a car was delivering about, let's say, 11-12 kilometers of mileage, in the smart hybrids that are being made today, it will deliver anywhere from 19 to 22 kilometers.
Okay.
So that's the shift that is going to happen. So the amount of carbon emission that is going to come down is going to dramatically drop down. That's the second part of it. The third one is the adoption of EV itself. Of course, there are two schools of thought. One which says that EVs reduce a lot of pollution, but what people don't realize is the fact that EV, when you are making an EV, one, you have rare earth metals which are going into it, like magnets, copper, and other things to make the motor. So that cost of excavation and the carbon generation that happens when you are excavating these materials and then utilizing it is not being factored by one school of thought. Right? The other school of thought says that you might be not seeing pollution coming out from the vehicle, but there is pollution which is all hidden. Like in India, we still have major power plants which operate on thermal energy, which burn a lot of natural resources like coal. So coal definitely generates a lot of carbon, and since it generates a lot of carbon, it's not as clean as we are thinking it to be. So these are two schools of thought. But going forward, one of the key things that is happening, or which has happened, and it is in the final stage of testing and production, is the fact that the capacitor induced battery management system, or the energy management system using capacitors is the one which is going to be the trend. And from what I understand, a typical double size power bank that we have can power that sized capacitor can power an electric scooter for up to about 70 kilometers. So the way the vehicles are being built is going to probably be in for a change. It might not, the cars and scooters and to motorcycles of the future might not look the way it is currently looking, and everything might change. It's more like when the ICE engines came in, they were called as horseless carriages. So instead of the horse, they were putting an engine into it, and then they were calling it as horseless carriages. But future, when the capacitor system and then the motor driving the wheels and other things are going to change, the way the vehicles are going to look might also be in for a shift.
Okay, okay. As you being a business expert, I would like to know the after effects of COVID.
COVID, yes, has slowed down the economy of most of the nations. Many of them have gone into recession. One of the key things is the India story is a fantastic story, primarily because before COVID, 6 years ago, we adopted to the GST system. So the GST collection in the country has been on the uprise. So the governmental spending has been on the increase. So when the government spends, the economy starts booming. So we have not been impacted that very heavily, unlike other countries, as far as COVID is concerned. But yes, there has been an impact. Certain sectors have not still come back. There are lots of businesses which were not fundamentally strong. They lost out during COVID. They had to shut down business because their operational viability could not happen. They were mostly on borrowed funds. They were sitting on borrowed funds, heavily leveraged, and they were all very cash intensive businesses. They are the ones which have taken effect. And of course, going forward, probably 2-3 years down the line, we might see some scams which are emerging, primarily because people try to find ways and means to beat this recession out, and the downtrend that happened during COVID out. So there would be some workarounds people would have gone through and done, and they might come out big and large as scams, and that also is possible.
Okay.
But as an India as a story, I think India as a story, we have started to emerge. We are now looking more like a superpower. You know, when I was doing my MBA, our finance professor always used to say that India's story is 2035, right? And we hope it reaches that, and I'm sure all of us would be alive to see that India story 12 years from now becoming one of the largest economies in the world.
Okay, nice to hear that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.